Hey guys, so today I'll be reviewing a book called Thank You for Your Service, and you had to read it this year for AP English 3. You might have already heard of it because it's a major motion picture now. It was adapted like a few years ago, but anyway, I didn't love this book just because of the heavy topics it discussed, but if you like military-based books and you like journalism storytelling type of writing, then you would probably absolutely love this, but it just wasn't for me. So yeah, on to the book review. So there are many topics discussed in this book, but one of the main focus points is life after the military for soldiers and for their families. And the author kind of sheds light on this issue by describing all these soldiers and like their stories coming home, and most of them are hardships, which shows that his position on this topic was bad, that life after the military for soldiers was just unbelievably hard. It was just really hard to integrate back into society. To reason his position, he showed how military men, in this book, he showed how military men came home and they suffered from depression, PTSD, they came home abusing their wives, being aggressive towards their children, just a ton of bad things. And it shows that military life was very, very difficult. So to support his position on this argument, David Finkel, who's the author of this book, he kind of described all these stories, but none of them ended really happily. And you could say that some did, but really, it never got to like a happy sunshine rainbow ending. It was kind of like, okay, so now we know that life is very difficult for these people, and they never fully recover from it. His major reasonings for like his claim, if you want to call it that, is he showed soldiers coming home and they were sad, they wanted to commit suicide, they yelled at their wives constantly, they were more like short-tempered with their wives and their children on just, you didn't make me dinner, okay, I'm gonna like slap you in the face. Like it just wasn't, they just weren't normal after the war. And that was some of his major reasonings for choosing this position. So some literary choices the author made to push forward his position was using stories that were all hardships, that all showed soldiers being very hurt and depressed, and it was really sad to read about. He also used some statistics about suicide. Like I know one or two of the chapters, all it talked about was how many suicides are committed by soldiers every single day, and it was quite sad, especially for me because I don't like reading about that kind of stuff. It was just really sad, but it did strengthen his argument about how and why military life is really hard when they come home. You know, like life after the military, especially for the families, because they're the ones who suffer all the consequences from their husband or their dad coming home. So another perspective on this issue is presented in American Sniper, which is a movie. It's about Chris Kyle. He comes home from the war and devotes his whole purpose to helping soldiers who are having trouble integrating back into society because it's really hard for them. And basically it shows that he can recover from the war, he can build himself back up, and he can help others, which is a totally different view from this book, because in this book they try to recover and most of them never fully get there and they're always so scarred. But in this movie he kind of like built himself up, as it's more like a happy ending, but like not the ending, you know, like just like coming home from the war. He's a lot better than these people are. I think everyone should read this book because it gives people true insight on what soldiers have to deal with coming home and their families. And it shows why mental health care facilities are really, really important, especially for soldiers who are struggling to integrate back into society. And it also kind of demonstrates why veteran care is needed, especially in Adam Schuman's case, which is the main character. And most of all, people should read it because it lets us know what we are thanking soldiers for when we say thank you for your service.